Hey, hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to walk you through my presets that I've made up for my Metallica show in my Axe FX 3. So the cool thing about this as well is it's not just me that's running through the Axe FX. The other guitarist in the band is running through the Axe FX as well. So I've created 2 amp chains in there, one for myself and one for him. So not only does that mean that I now have complete control, but it also means that we're going to change together in time every time. It's great. So I've made up this preset here to show you today, but in the one that we use together, I will show you so here's Master of Puppets, for example. I go in input 1 and he comes in input 3. As you can see, 2 separate amps, 2 separate cabs, 2 separate EQs, 2 lots of effects going on. And that takes the whole preset only up to 73%. This is not the Axe FX Turbo, it's just the Axe FX 3 Mark II, of course. Now we both go output 1. I'm panned one side, he's panned the other. The reverbs are in stereo. So you do get the reverb spilling across from one side to the other, which is really nice, fills up the space. The chorus, when that comes in, that also is in stereo. So if I'm on one side, the whole thing fills up with my nice clean chorus sound. I've got these extra outputs there just for going into in-ears and one going to an extra on-stage cabinet. So let me just show you the heavy tone first. Sounds pretty good, right? I'm just going to walk you through the whole preset. I'm going to show you the settings of the amps. I'm going to show you what I'm doing because I tried to find out exactly what they do and there is no research. There's a few videos out there of people showing off their Metallica tones in their Axe FX and they don't show you what's in it. It's just like, yeah, it sounds great. So I had a bit of play and this is what I came up with. Now Metallica did of course use the Mesa Boogie Mark IIc Plus, I think. So here I'm using the 2C Plus. These are the settings: gain at 7, overdrive here at 8, bass at 3, middle at 2, trebles at 8.41, because why not, presence at 4.51, and master volumes there at 5. Treble shift on. In the preamp, I'm using essentially a tube screamer, the T808, with that much of a boost. With that off, sounds really great. Power amp looks like this. Power tubes, I don't know if I touched any of this, I don't remember. 6L6s in the power tubes. Power supply. Now I'm using the Dynacab, so I've just left that on and that's the default. Input EQ a little bit there. Cleaning up the low end here at 110. A little bit of a spike here at 15 on the input, just to give that pick attack a little bit of something on the way in. Output EQ looks like such. And the output dynamics, I don't think I did anything on that one either. So those are the amp settings. Pause that as you go through and by all means, nick that one. Here is the speaker cabinets. Now I'm using the same amps and the same speaker cabinets across every preset because it's a live gig and that's what Metallica do as well. They don't change their amp settings per song to match the album. They've got one overall gain sound that works for the whole concert because it's cohesive. The whole thing is one big show. If it's chopping and changing, it's just going to be a total mess and sound like crap, in my opinion. And Metallica use the Axe FX these days in their live situations. I don't know what they do. That's very well hidden from the world, but this is what I came up with, of course. Here I'm using the 4x12 Recto Slant and the 4x12 1960 TV, which is essentially a rectifier and a Marshall cabinets, because back in the day they did use the Mesa Boogies, but they also had some Marshalls in their setup as well. So that's why I've gone for the Marshall sound in the cabinet in this situation. Condenser and ribbon to make it a bit darker. I don't like it being too bright. I think it takes away. These are bright enough. The Dynacabs are very aggressive sounding. The legacy impulse responses that are in the Axe FX, in my opinion, they sound a bit dark. I don't personally like them in a live situation. These Dynacabs, for me, just seem to work better in a gig. They sit better in the mix. They cut through still, but they still also don't get in the way of the vocal and everything else. I really like what they've done here. I think it sounds fantastic. So more or less I'm using that across the board. That does not change. The only thing I do change is the amp for the clean, and with the solos I did change it a little bit. EQ here, I've done this just to clean up a little bit. 10K, 80, so not a lot, and I found 2 frequencies there that I didn't particularly like. They sound like this. So just a bit hissy there at 2, 3. And just a bit yuck there at 1100. So I'm going to show you the solo tone without the wah first. I just leaned back and touched the chair and scared the shit out of myself. And now, just a little bit of wah. With those lead tones, the delay and the reverbs vary per song. Whether there be reverb or not, again, depends on the song. Delays are always to the BPM of the song, because I like that. Now what I did here, before I get into the amp settings and all that sort of crap, the wah. I jumped onto the internet to find the exact-ish settings for the Kirk Hammett wah, which I have both of, the green one and the purple one, and I adjusted the settings here to match what his wah sounds like, and to me, I think it sounds pretty good. And here, I don't remember if I adjusted that EQ setting or not. So here on the solo, still the USA Mark II C++, but this is the deep bright. So I wanted a bit more low end, but I wanted a bit more brightness as well. So this is what I did, and this is how it sounds. The volume of the amp is the same. However, I did change a few settings. I've got a little bit more gain on the input. These are ideal tabs. By all means, again, pause and do what you need to do. None of this stuff I ever really tweak. Input settings, slightly different, but more or less the same. Now the output EQ is a little bit different here. So, not much, but a little bit. Makes a bit more of a difference, I think. It helps the amp cut through a bit better. Cabinet, like I said, does not change. The EQ does not change, but I do have a filter block here, and I've got a boost at the end at 4K. It does round down to 3999.9 because it just does. Boosting there 3 dB in that 4K region, and the overall there is up by 2. And delays are set to the BPM, as I said. Stereo because I like stereo, and same with the reverb. Blended nicely. I don't have them, as you can tell, in parallel. I've got it going through just in series, and it sounds great. I'm happy with it the way it came out. And then the clean tone, let's hear it, and I'll talk about it. G strings, right? Sandman. Clean sounds amazing. I think that's based off the Jazz 120. The settings look like that. Do what you gotta do. Preamp, there's nothing on there. I do bring the preamp in for a couple of songs just to give the clean a bit of a boost, like Unforgiven, that little... that bit. That sounds really good with a bit of extra oomph on it. I've got compression here at the start. Very basic compression, does that. Sounds great. Again, the cabinets do not change. I'm using the Dimension 1 chorus. I love the dimensional chorus. That's just fantastic. The best chorus in my opinion. And just a chorus hole there at the end. Now, one cool thing that I do for a couple of songs is I change to these acoustic impulses. Now, these are not mine, so I cannot give these away. Now, I don't remember where I got these impulse responses from, but they sound great. So what I've done there, rather than keeping it just really boring, I do use the Tube Pre. I've adjusted the settings just a little bit to give it a bit of warmth going into the acoustic sound. So a bit of a preamp there. The level wasn't quite where I wanted it, so I had to boost the input level. That's about all I did. I think keep the input EQ down and output EQ, a few tweaks in there as well. And of course, back at the start, bit of compression. That's more or less the same across all of the clean tones. Yeah, that doesn't change. And same old chorus. What a beautiful clean tone. So I'm not using this guitar, I'm using my Gibson Explorer, but I did just put the headset into that Gibson. I've got a video just here where you can see what these sound like when they went in. The headset's great. These pickups are also good, just EMGs, whatever came in the E2. So another thing that we do, obviously there are a few songs that are pitched a little bit differently in the Metallica world. So quite simply, Virtual Capo, Sad But True. We also do a great version of their cover of Whiskey in the Jar. So in that situation, what I've done there is I've done the dual chromatic. On scene 1, brought this down 2 semitones to make it in D standard. And here on channel 2, I've introduced the octave lower. The algorithm for the dual chromatic in the pitch block, spot on. This sounds great. I can't hear anything wrong with it. And I just blended that back in to about 50%, and that seems to sit quite well. So that's more or less it. Sounds really great. I'm really happy with it. Sounds Metallica-y. Do you like this preset? Would you guys like this to be available as something that you could download, or are you happy just to copy? Let me know. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. But that's it for today. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Wake it up, gotta go.